What's up, guys? I just want to say thanks for clicking on my video and giving my channel a chance. If you're brand new here, welcome in. If you're returning, you guys know I appreciate all of you very much. This one we're going to be checking out the brand new release from FMS. This is the FJ40. This is a 10th scale crawler with tons and tons of scale features. This thing is completely decked out and just absolutely beautiful. So with that said, we'll get right into diving into this one, and I hope you enjoy the video. Yes! What's up, guys? Matt here, coming at you with another quick video. Today we're going to be checking out the FMS FJ40. First off, I just want to say thanks to FMS for sending this over. There's nothing better than hearing the delivery truck pull up and expecting some small packages that I ordered, go out, and there's this big, huge brown box with FMS on the side. It's just like Christmas in August here. So didn't really know I was getting one of these, but I'm very excited to check this out. If you guys have been watching the channel, you know I picked up like the Tank 300, the little 24 scale truck. Really enjoyed just kind of scale trailing along with that thing, and this really fits right into that. It's super scale, very decked out. Let's take a look at some of the things that's offered in this one, and then we're definitely going to get it out and go crawl it. So this is a 10th scale truck, hence the big huge box. So right out of the box we've got our manual here. This does have an exploded view with all of your part numbers, so if you need to find any parts to fit this thing, very easy to do. Google is your friend. We've got this nice foam case with latches on it. These are very, very nice. Easy to take these things with you. If you're going on vacation or something, it works really well. You don't have to worry about a scale truck like this getting accessories broke off. Put it back in this case, throw this in the trunk, whatever, take it with you. You've got a nice, easy way to get down to the creek or wherever you're going. I'm taking a couple of these with me today, and I'm gonna use these cases because they're scale trucks. I don't want things to get broke in a backpack or whatever. So very nice case, like always. So it looks like we've got a couple parts here we've got to install. We've got to put the mirrors on, the running boards, and then we've got a wheel wrench in here as well. So we'll definitely get to that in a minute. So straight out of the box, you're going to have stickers kind of everywhere, keeping the hood latched, doors closed, that sort of thing. Just peel those off, and then you'll be able to open everything up. The rear was completely stuffed with this foam to sort of give this a little added protection, I guess, from getting crushed, even though it's inside this case. So they're really trying to take care of us on that. Beautiful interior in the back there. Doors open up. They seem to latch really well. Everything kind of clicks into place. I don't really see that flying open. It could, I guess. But if so, we can add some magnets inside of there probably to take care of it. One of my favorite touches that I've noticed already is the side doors. So I was trying to open this door, couldn't figure it out. You actually turn that and the door opens. And boom, look at that. You've got the door moldings, you've got beautiful interior inside. This thing is scaled out. But I love the fact that the doors actually latch. So when you turn that, it has a little latch right here that latches, keeps the doors closed, because anytime I'm trailing with a vehicle with opening doors, my doors are flying everywhere. So very nice touch there. I believe the top actually comes completely off. We may mess with that eventually. I really kind of like it on there. This is going to be pretty top heavy. You can see we may have to stiffen our springs a little, but you know, that's performance. We could get into that later. Up under the hood seems to latch pretty well. It's a pretty good hold on that. I don't think it's going to just be flying open on us too much. It takes a pretty good beating. The hood's not coming up. If you pull on it right there in the perfect spot, it will pop right up. Lots of room underneath here. We've got a 550 35 turn, I believe, motor. These things, I've actually been slapping the Fusion SE in these and love the way it performs. It fits perfect with the stock pinion. My Atlas 10th scale is running one now. Nice and easy access if you want to change your servos and upgrade those. These usually aren't bad out of the box, but you know, we all want to upgrade down the road. So everything's nice and easy to get to in here. Very, very simple. One thing I do wish they would include with these is just a Velcro strap of some sort inside here, because they give us this battery tray, and if you're running a full-size pack, it'll fit in there fine, but I usually run these little small packs, and you can see it don't really fit, and there's no good way to hold it in there. So I always end up adding a Velcro strap. There are slots already cut where it fits, so if you have some sort of Velcro around, you can make a strap, or you can just add some Velcro down in there to your battery and just kind of stick it. Whatever should work, but that's just something they could throw in, a little strap like this, make it much easier to run multiple styles of batteries. So here you can see you do have to install the running boards, and they basically just kind of slap in place and then are mounted by a couple of screws. Very simple to mount these up. The side mirrors are a little bit more challenging. So the bottom screw is easy to get to. You kind of put this thing up there, run the bottom screw in, but the top one, as you can see, the arm is really in the way, and it doesn't move, it doesn't swivel, anything like that. So getting the upper screw into this is pretty challenging, and really takes a good screwdriver and a little bit of patience. And then you just snap on the mirror. These, you could possibly put a little glue. I lost one, I'll show you later. I did find it, but overall they look very, very good once installed. You can see here, beautiful truck. I mean, absolutely beautiful. So one thing I always check with these ESCs are these plugs right here. If you leave this in the stock position, which is to the right, that is for a nickel metal battery. If you pull that plug and move it all the way to the left, that is for running a LiPo, which means this is it's gonna cut off the battery before you just completely drain this LiPo too far. If you leave it in the nickel metal setting, it can kill your LiPo. So definitely check that. At the very bottom of the ESC down there, you can see BAT, and then it's LiPo on the left, NIM on the right. That is why you need to switch this to the left. So be sure and check that. All right, so I wanted to show you guys a little bit of a size comparison here, just so you can kind of get an idea of the size of this thing, because I think a lot of people is going to complain this is not true 10th scale. And me, like personally, I don't care if this is an exact 10th scale replica of the real thing. I just want my 10th scale RCs to be 10th scale size, you know what I mean? So like, I want the wheelbases to be similar and that sort of thing. This, I think, is kind of along those lines. I mean, the wheelbase fits fine. If you didn't have this huge top on it, I think that makes it look much bigger than it really is. But you can see up next to the Atlas, because these share the same exact chassis, wheelbase, and all of that. So really it comes down to the body just being massive compared to the Atlas. But it's not as huge as what some people are making it out to be, I think. But they also say this is like 6th scale. So there's a little bit of discrepancy there, because to me, this is a 10th scale RC. I don't care what it is based on what the real truck is. It's a 10th scale RC because it fits this size in my mind. So it works fine for me. You can see here, I don't have the wheels and tires on this Bronco at the moment, but it's right along the same wheelbase as this thing. So it fits in the 10th scale to me, but yes, it does seem bigger. I do like kind of how these wheels and tires look on there. I pulled these off of the Jimny, I had those mounted up on there. But something like that I think would definitely improve the looks, and overall the size is fine with me. One of the first things you're going to want to do with this is check your dual rate, your STDR. Just turn that way up, because I wasn't getting hardly any steering. You can see there, I'm getting much more steering now. I could barely turn this thing at all. That's probably a good idea to do this on the bench, so you can turn this thing upside down. You can watch where it's maxing out, and dial this down to where it just stops where you're maxing out your swing, because you don't want to kill your servo by turning it way up. But I'm honestly not worried about my servo, so I'm turning it full blast and driving it because I'm already out here at the creek. I'm already soaking wet, and that's just what I do. This is what I love about 10th scale, baby. So as you can probably see there, this thing does have light buckets in the rear, but no LEDs. The front headlights, they're just on. They're not on a switch. You can't turn them off, on, anything like that. But that's very easily done. I'll link a little controller that I use in the description. Basically, you just plug it in line with the lights, and it will allow you to work the lights on the channel 3 or 4 switch, whichever you decide to use. And really, it's just nice being able to turn those off and on when you want. You know, I do like that they just kind of left out the turn signals. I'm not a fan of those. I always cycle through the modes and find the one that's not running the turn signals anyways. So I'm good with that. I feel like this thing has a lot to offer at the price point. So this thing is $350. It's all bearings in it throughout, all metal gears. You've got the universals in the front. The ESC is waterproof. It comes with the XT60 connector on it, which is what I use with basically all of my crawlers in this range. You know, 2.4 gigahertz transmitter that we've kind of gotten used to with the FMS stuff. There's a lot there. It's also available in like a bright blue, which looks really good as well. But this yellow just kind of really popped to me. I don't have a lot of yellow stuff, and I thought, man, this thing is just beautiful. You know, the tires are okay on this. You'll see everybody kind of will complain wheels and tires, you know, but on a stock RTR, I don't really worry about wheels and tires because we're all going to change them. Everybody has their own like style. We want something different. And the wheels are probably the number one thing that people change immediately. You know, everybody wants a different look. So I'm fine with them putting whatever they put on there. The tires are decent. They did pretty well out here, and it was very wet and slick, nasty, slippery. Honestly, it did a little more than I expected it to do just because it is very heavy, top heavy especially, and it was very slick. The shocks definitely need a little work. They need to just toss these shocks, honestly, and start over. We could use a little longer shock. At times I did get quite a bit of rub with the rear tires, rubbing the inner part of the body, like kind of the inner fender well along the body. You would hear it sometimes just making a screeching sound, especially once it got wet. You really heard it, but I did get a little rubbing there. But overall, I mean, it drove really well. I think it looks pretty scale realistic, you know, driving along like here. Man, it looks so cool. It does bobble a little, like right there. But it was a lot of fun to drive, and it actually did better than I thought it would. So you can hear there, the ESC and servo are both very loud. This ESC is really like an on-off switch. You're able to get a decent crawl just driving normal on flat ground, and up over things it did well. But going downhill is where you really, really notice it, because you just need a little bit and you hit it and it's like, and it's, you know, it just goes like it's start, stop, start, stop. There is no like slow crawling down something. So I noticed it going downhill more than anything. You know, some of the uphill stuff, I'm able to get plenty of a slow crawl out of it. I feel like I'm going to rip that out and just put a Fusion in there. I'm telling you guys, the Fusion SE, you can get that thing for like $69. I put one in my Atlas. I'll show you a little comparison in a bit between the size of this and the Atlas, and show you that thing in action, how smooth it is for 69 bucks. I'll link it all in the description as well. But I would just yank that motor and ESC out. You can get that all in one setup, throw it in there. If you want to change the servo, you can try to get a little more quiet servo in there. This one did fine. I didn't have any issues with it. You know, it seemed plenty powerful enough. So not a huge deal to me. I guess eventually I may change it out just because I do that, but not because it's a must do anyways. But it is pretty loud, so you kind of get a lot of noise out of this thing, but that's kind of standard with most of these stock trucks. So I like that they are offering all of these different body styles and type trucks off of just the same Michigan chassis, basically. You know, we got the Michigan, then we got the Atlas 110, which is, that thing can be made a little more performance based. You know, it's got a lot of clearance and stuff. And then we get this super scale look. You can see there the hood did fly open when I would roll it, but you know, that's kind of expected when you're rolling one pretty hard like I did. I didn't have any issues with it just driving along. It seemed to stay closed pretty well. The back doors a couple times came open, but nothing bad at all. The side doors definitely stayed latched with that latching system they have on there, so I was very happy with that. These side mirrors, you just got to keep an eye on those. I did pop one off later. It kind of went in the water. Luckily, I found it. But you can see I was pretty hard on this thing. I rolled it several times and didn't break anything. Didn't have any issues. I was cramming on the throttle in the water in the creek later and didn't break anything. No issues like that. Here, a little better tire probably would have helped, but this was very, very slick. And you'll see it was able to get it done eventually. This is a pretty good little climb for it. It don't look like anything, but it is very slick. So pretty much anything was going to have issues out here. And overall, this thing just did pretty well. I was surprised, really, when I got out there and seen the conditions and stuff. I didn't expect to get much of anything done with this, but I absolutely loved driving this thing. And taking in the water was just the highlight of my day. It was so much fun. So with this sharing the axles and all the parts and everything with the Michigan, it just makes parts easy to get. They're already there and available. This thing, as well as parts and stuff, is all available at fairrc, which is kind of really taking over with the FMS stuff. So I'll link all of that in the description. It's a great place to pick up anything you need, as well as the truck. And so I'll definitely link all of that in the description. There you can see the back door coming open a little bit, but I was bouncing on it and cramming on it pretty good. So it's kind of to be expected when you run it maybe a little harder than it's meant to be ran. I feel like this kind of trailing along type stuff right here is really what these kind of trucks are meant for. But I always just kind of have to push the limits a little bit and see what else they can do. But you can see this thing looks amazing. I loved driving this, and they are going to offer like a leaf spring setup for this, which would probably stiffen it up some. I'm not a huge leaf spring fan, but after the work that I put in on my Jimny, I was able to get quite a bit of flex out of that thing, and the leaf springs work pretty well on it. So maybe that's something we could do with this. You can unbolt the top and take the top off of this and just kind of run it more like a pickup style truck. So that would probably be pretty interesting. But I think it's pretty cool that, you know, we get the rack on the roof and everything ready to really scale this thing out. And overall, the performance was great. You know, it is what it is. It's a scale truck, but the performance was pretty good. Here you'll see coming down this hill, I'm just kind of start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. That's where the ESC really struggled, in my opinion. So that's why I say I would swap out to like the Fusion SE, just a super simple all-in-one ESC motor combo. So less wires, less headache, and then this thing would be so much smoother. But I had a blast driving it just like it is for 350 bucks. I think there's a lot there. The detail in this body and stuff's just insane. And overall, man, I put it through it. Like you'll see in a minute, I was cramming on it in the water, hitting some pretty nasty stuff, and no issues at all. So I was running 3S throughout this entire video because honestly, I just don't even mess with 2S in these things. When I can run 3S, I just go straight to it. But it does have plenty of wheel speed to trail along at walking speed. I mean, you would have to do a slight jog probably to actually keep up with this thing, or just walk really fast. But if you pin it, it's got plenty of wheel speed. So I didn't have any issues with it struggling to pull this big body up anything. You know, I felt like I had lots of power. And you can see it's pretty fun to just kind of drive this thing in and out of the trail with you. Now here's where I roll this down into the creek and I actually lose one of the mirrors. I wasn't sure where it went. It's actually up there in the grass, I think. But that's definitely something to watch out for because those will pop off. So you may want to keep a close eye on these guys or put a dab of glue on them. It's kind of nice that they come off because they don't just break. But that one just fell off and I thought it was gone. Luckily I found it over here in the weeds, but just know those are going to come off and you're going to lose them. The good thing is the mirrors are kind of flexible enough. All the abuse I've gave it today, it hasn't broke. So that's definitely a plus. So I'm going to leave you guys with some running through the water. If you stuck around this long, I really, really appreciate you. And this one I think is definitely worth checking out, especially if you're looking for a super scale looking 10th scale that is priced pretty well. At $350, I think, you know, we get a beautiful looking body with just a couple things that need changed here and there. Most companies would be trying to sell this for at least $550 in my opinion. So I think FMS came in very well with this one, and I think it's going to be pretty popular. So you guys let me know what you think about this one. I'll link it in the description if you're looking to pick one up. If you use those links, it helps out the channel, and I do greatly appreciate it, as well as I'll just appreciate anybody who watches a second. So thank you guys so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Peace. Yes! Boom! I'm out. I mentioned I would show the slow crawl of this SE, the Fusion SE, in my Atlas here. As you can see, this thing slow crawls great and is basically completely silent now. So
this is definitely something I would recommend checking out for $70. You know, it totally changes the performance of any of these trucks. I've got one in this. I've got one in my Jimny. I'm going to put one in my MB Scalar, and probably now the FJ40. So I appreciate you guys hanging around. Peace.